Welcome back to the Venture Podcast. I'm James Moffat, and I'm joined by my new co-host, Bryce Neal. Today, we interviewed Michael and Daniel from Coldture.
Michael and Daniel are the founders of Coldture, a one-of-its-kind, first-of-its-kind cold plunging company out of Canada. We're so excited to talk to them today about their founder journey, their experiences building Coldture, and advice for the next generation of entrepreneurs. We hope you enjoy.
So, just to paint kind of a fuller picture of the entrepreneur, let's go back to your childhood. Could you just tell us a little bit about what you were interested in? Was it sports, maybe school? Tell me about it.
Yeah, so I grew up in a family of, I have four older brothers, so it's five boys. Immigrant parents came in with, not much. They kind of came here just with nothing, actually, like probably $1 to the account. And they came to Canada because they wanted to give everything up so that they can give their kids the life that they never had. So growing up, I'm the youngest of four older brothers. We all played hockey, some played basketball, so super competitive environment growing up. Like my childhood was just like lots of fun, lots of play, lots of competition, and no one liked to lose in my house, and people would go to pretty far extents to make sure that they win. So it was lots of that, lots of competing. Played hockey my whole entire life, so being in that mindset of doing whatever it takes, figuring it out at all costs was something that was always there. And my parents literally started their family by figuring it out. So figuring it out is like the common denominator. That's kind of the theme between my whole family. And honestly, when you're talking about entrepreneurship, it's all about figuring shit out, because you're going to be doing things that you have no idea what you're doing. Like, I'm doing things today that I still don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm learning how to now build a team with 15 employees, and I've never done that before. So it's a constant learning process. So it really takes a certain type of mindset to be able to excel at that, and know that you're going to feel stressed, you're going to feel angry, you're going to feel sad, you're going to have doubts, you're going to think a million different things at once, but you got to have that commitment to figuring it out because your life's on the line.
Yeah, and I guess you said you come from a family of entrepreneurs. Yeah. You've seen it through your parents, your brothers. I know I've seen Aaron. He successfully built Hush. I think your oldest brother, maybe he built Revitasize. Yeah. So you've seen all of this. What kind of influence has that had on your life?
Yeah, like I kind of said, is like Revitasize, like that story of how that all happened was just a pure, we got to do whatever it takes to make this successful. It was at a time where my dad had a stroke. My mom was going through a difficult time in her previous business that she was absolutely crushing it in. And my other brother, Daniel, was playing professional hockey in the East Coast League. Easily could have made it to the NHL. He's super, super talented, but he got a pretty hard injury in his shoulder, and my parents were going through tough times, and I was in school, my other brother was in school, my other two brothers had a really, really great job, and everyone quit what they're doing. My brother quit professional hockey, my other brother dropped out of school, two other brothers quit their jobs to come back to the house and build a juicing company, because if we didn't make $10,000 that month, we would have had to sell our house and we would be on the streets. So it was a life or death moment, because the family needed all of us to come back and figure it out. Okay, how are we going to make $10,000 to $15,000 a month so we can cover our mortgage and cover our lifestyle and have food in the house and everything like that. So I think definitely seeing my brothers have that level of sacrifice and have the decision to make the opportunity cost, because they're always sacrificing one thing for the other. So everyone made that choice because everyone values family, and we don't want to see anyone go down in our family, so we're going to do whatever it takes to make sure we survive. So that's what I learned from them and saw that dedication. So it's definitely good role models to have in my life, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. Wow.
That's incredible, yeah. That level of drive, like that commitment, I guess that was, it's amazing that you just described, like, your brother came back, like everyone came back to the house, and are united around that common mission. Is there a defining moment where you realize that, like, how did that come to be? Like, did your parents instill that in you? Because that's something that's really special, I think, in entrepreneurship, to be able to, drop everything and kind of just believe. and bring a team together? How did that ever come to be?
Yeah, like if you go look at the stats, I don't know what the stats are, so I don't want to say some wonky percentage right now, but a majority of entrepreneurs are immigrants, and the reason why is because they had for them doing entrepreneurship, it wasn't like, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. It was like, if I do not make $10,000 this month, I will be on the streets. Like, that's it. They weren't thinking, like, my parents didn't think, oh, entrepreneur, I want to be this, I want to be that. They were thinking, okay, like, I want to live a better life. I'm the one who needs to go out there and make it happen for myself and my family. So when it came down to everyone quitting what they're doing to come back to the family, it was a no-brainer. It was a hard decision. It was not an easy decision. They didn't want to make the decision. But in the end of the day, when you have core values that you live by and that's what you were raised by, then it's not even a discussion. It's not a debate. It's, I'm going to make this happen no matter what happens. So I think it also comes down to, like, your psychology, right? It's, some people can be a victim to their circumstance. Some people can be like, oh, like, this is not going right, and because this person didn't come here, that means I didn't get the opportunity, or damn it, I gotta quit my job because of coming here. Like, you could go that victim route, but that's not gonna take you to who you want to be in life. So it's all about taking responsibility for your own life and making your circumstance the reality that you want to make it, and that requires lots of humility. That requires lots of strength to understand that you got to do things that are messy sometimes. So life is not pretty. It's not supposed to be, and you don't want it to be.
Yeah, well, that's the story of an entrepreneur, I guess. Like, you grew up having to be in a resilient family,
right?
And in entrepreneurship, there are never points where there isn't adversity. There's always problems arising, so that seems very natural to you to be able to overcome those things.
Right.
But Michael, I want to dive into cold plunging now. So where did this come from? When did you start cold plunging, and what kind of impact did it have on you when you first started?
So it was funny. I was just came back from a retreat workshop on the weekend, and I was reflecting a lot on my journey this far, and for me, it really started 5 years ago when I was 18, 19. I was working with my family. But again, I'm like being the youngest, and there was already four. My brothers were already heavily involved in driving the company. My parents also own the company as well. So there's a lot of opinions, there's a lot of voices. And sometimes when, it came to me wanting to shine my light a little bit, it's like, we already got like 6 other voices. It's like, you got to fucking climb a mountain for your voice to be heard. You got to like take a microphone and scream it, and I'm just like, I think this is a message for me to go and explore and do my own thing. And that's when I really started to learn about personal development and what that actually means. Of everyone says it's like, surpass your limits, or overcome your limiting beliefs, but it's like, what does that actually mean? Like, how do I overcome my limiting beliefs? So I just say, I'm going to do that. That's what I thought at the time, but at that time I learned that it's all about going a little bit deeper and finding what you actually really want to do, and that requires a level of courage and admitting how you feel, if you feel sad, if you feel angry. So I went through a lot of that process, and I was very much into personal development for like 2-3 years, like running workshops, creating experiences where people can feel that connection and maybe have that inch of hope in their life, because I had one person who believed in me at the time, and now I am who I am today because I just had that 1 ounce of hope. So when it came down to cold plunging, my business partner came to me with the idea, and it was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer for me because I understand how to market personal development. I understand what it means for someone to feel like there is no hope, and how to get them to the other side of feeling like they are alive and they're powerful enough to go and do the things that they want to do. And at the end of the day, that's what Coldture represents. That's what the ice bath is all about, right? Becoming more resilient, finding your inner power, finding your aliveness so that you can take on the day, even though it's going to be a little bit difficult. So when it came down to cold plunging, it was a no-brainer, and I did a 60-day challenge to challenge myself during COVID and be like, okay, I was very much into the world of breath work, and to go into a cold plunge, you need to know how to breathe, unless you're going to have a very not good experience, and you might have some bad side effects if you're not breathing properly. So for me, it was an experiential thing, and I wanted to see how far can I take this? And I really wanted to improve my own discipline. So the cold plunge really helped me become way more disciplined with my life, a lot more dialed in, and a lot more serious with my day to day.
Oh, that's really cool.
James, have you ever done a cold plunge?
Oh, Jesus. This is Bryson James from the Venturing Podcast.
I can barely go in the lake before May, so I'm a bit of a wuss when it comes to cold plunging or cold water. But have you?
You know, I haven't. I've done like polar bear dips in like the lake. Obviously, like a little different. But my friends at school actually they built a cold plunge. So they would go in it sometimes, and it's so interesting that this is the business that you've kind of like dedicated your life to in a way, because what the cold plunge, as you just mentioned, like what the cold plunge stands for is very much like kind of your upbringing and that story of like resilience and like dedication and consistency and those sorts of things. I don't know. I just find that so kind of, it's pretty impressive. Like it's not just an app. It's like like you're like a cold plunge, and it really speaks to like who you are. So I think that's pretty cool.
Like my one of my good friends, my mentor, like even said on this past weekend, and he was speaking to like 12 people, and he was like, "You, Mikey, you don't like money is not what drives me forward." Like I tell people all the time, I could easily start another business that's a way easier product that I can probably do way bigger numbers, that I'm probably not going to have to deal with even an ounce of the stress that I have to deal with this product. Like this is a pretty serious product. There's water systems moving through it. People are literally using this in their day-to-day life that's impacting them so much, and there's a level of service, there's a level of care, there's a level of attention to detail when making this type of product, and there's so many things that could go wrong. So it's not an easy product. It's complex, and there's a lot of systems that need to be in the machine for that machine to run like a well-oiled machine. So, like what I say, what keeps me going every day is the purpose behind that. And for me, I love seeing if someone can improve their daily life by using this cold plunge. That just gives me more motivation, and that adds to the reason why I'm doing this. So I don't do things just out of doing it. I do things if I'm passionate about it.
Yeah, that's cool. Living life with a purpose.
Yeah, of course.
I want to dive more into the business side of Coldture now, Michael. So tell me about what you were kind of thinking about when you first started this thing. Like, how did you gain the conviction to realize, okay, this is something that is going to transpire into something big? Were you looking for like revenue targets, growth? What were you looking at in that first couple months to a year?
My business partner is the answer. He was the guy that was like super bought in. He's like, yo, this can really go far, and he saw the potential that could be. So I gotta give credit to my business partner. He was very, very bought in that this product will be able to skyrocket and go places, and I saw it as well, but I wasn't as confident as he was, and I rode his confidence. And shortly after we made our first sale, it was like, okay, that's it. We're going all in. We dropped everything we're doing. I was part-time doing stuff for other companies. I was still taking on some coaching clients. My brother taught me how to DJ, so I started like doing DJ gigs on the side so I can make an extra $500-600 a week. And then I'm like, okay, it's time to drop everything and go all in. And I didn't have too much money in my bank account at the time, so and we weren't taking money from the business either. So yeah, revenue targets, sure, but there was no industry then. There was only one company at the time that, the plunge, but they were small at the time, and there was no Canadian companies, so it was like pioneering a new industry is also not easy, because I can't go to other competitors and be like, yo, here's where the market's trending, here's the market cap, here's what they're doing in terms of revenue. Okay, that means if I take at least 25% off their table, that means I can make this. Like, there wasn't that much forecasting able to do, so it was more of just, okay, do we believe in this? Yeah, we believe in this. Let's go all in. That's awesome. Oh, there's Dan.
Hey, hop in? Yeah, sure. We'll come help out. Yeah, we'll take a break.
We can pause and come back.
Yeah, sure. Cool. Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
For context, this is the life of a startup. You gotta go do random tasks at different times.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing, I imagine, every day, just solving problems, troubleshooting.
Yeah, there's no consistent schedule.
Awesome. And now we're joined by Danial too, the other co-founder of Coldture. Daniel, why don't you just quickly tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you into cold plunging and what brought you here to today?
Sure. Yeah. So I guess my story started like years ago when started cold plunging and going to the sauna with my dad like on weekends. It was a fond memory when I was like, I don't know, like 7, 8, 10 years old. My background's Russian, so we have this like tradition every Sunday we would go and basically go to the banya, enjoy ourselves, and do this hot and then jump into this like cold, either pull the bucket of cold water or jump into this little cold pool. So I'd always like love that, enjoy that. And then throughout my career, I was like so used to that kind of aspect that within hockey, we would do like on tournaments, get our legs nice and fresh in between like a bunch of games. We would jump in, fill the bathtub with ice. And all that time was always like, it was very kind of comfortable. People were just doing it like a little thrill. You would go like up to your kind of like stomach. And it worked, honestly. Like the ice worked for your legs. You felt great after. And then most recently, like around during COVID, where like this was birthed, Coldture was birthed, I had a knee injury. Started, remembering like, okay, the ice helps. So started doing it at home more intentionally. Like every single day I would be filling my bathtub with like a bunch of ice. And yeah, like my knee pain started to go away. Like got super addicted to the feeling. My mind was super clear. And yeah, from there, basically I was like, holy shit, like we have to bring this to the masses. Like we have to bring it to all Canadians. I started looking for solutions like to get like a permanent setup, and there was nothing around. So that's when we went on the journey to start sourcing materials, trying to figure out how we can make this a reality.
Cool. And so wait, you were playing hockey at the time, correct? And then you brought the idea to Michael. How did you guys get connected? What was that?
Yeah.
How did that work?
So I was playing hockey for, I don't know, over like 10 years with his older brother. He's one of the youngest of 5 brothers. So I had a relationship with the family already. Didn't actually have much interaction with Mike himself, but had a great relationship with his middle brother and his just the one after him, Aaron. And so Aaron actually was at my place during COVID. We were in Tulum. So he visited and we just had a great kind of connection there, and kind of inspired me to really to build a business, like e-commerce business. And so then like once kind of we started this journey, Mike was doing his own thing, and like he was like a big inspiration with the community that he built and his journey. And so like it was just a perfect marriage of just kind of coming together and building this beautiful company. So
that's really good. Before we went to go help you with the thing, we were talking about getting more into the business side of Coldture and kind of like what it looked like within the first year, what kind of metrics you were trying to hit. Another thing I wanted to ask you guys was where did you guys find the capital to build your first couple products, and then also like where did you find your first customers? Like how did that happen? Did you start with some sort of minimum viable product and then find a first customer, test it with them, or how did that kind of work?
Everything was bootstrapped. There was no like finding a customer to test it. It was we started at the first event. It was a Spartan race, and we went to Spartan race. You guys know what a Spartan race is? Yeah. It's basically like an obstacle course. So people are like hybrid athletes. So in the end of the day, we knew like the overall target market of, okay, it's someone who cares about themselves, someone who's willing to push their limits, someone who wants to grow as an individual. So we assumed, okay, someone who's going to go to this type of event is that type of person, right? Why would you put yourself through a obstacle course? And you don't have to do it. You don't have to go and do it. No one's paying you to go. You're paying to actually go. So that was the first activation type event that we put ourselves out there. And then we ended up getting like 10 or 15 customers from there, and we ended up getting our first sale like 2 days after that event. And it was just an online sale, and there was like some Google, and there's a lot of other things like Plunge, and they went on Shark Tank, and we wanted to leverage that, so we kind of did a little Google strategy there. But that's pretty much like kind of like that start of it.
Yeah, I can add a little more. Yeah, so in terms of the capital, I basically put in all the money in the beginning of the business. And then even that wasn't enough. So like I was actually, at the time, I was in an MBA program that I dropped, and I had to basically take all that money that I had and put it into the business. So that was like the first initial kind of prototyping and batch, like kind of like testing. And then after that, I actually took a family loan as well from my mom. So that was also a huge thing. So really, it was like, really nobody believed in us. Even like, you know, our close friends like didn't want to provide money. So it was actually family that kind of stepped in and really supported us. And yeah, it was like, I think that was a huge kind of thing in the business, that we weren't like diluting ourselves from the beginning. No, like we didn't have to convince anybody of our vision or mission. And then yeah, the first sale, yeah, it was from Spartan, and we were just like, after the event, we were just calling people. I remember I was just like on the phones calling and just closing the deal, and it was such a like eureka moment, because like all this work that was done beforehand kind of came true and was like validated from that first sale. I was like, holy crap, like we actually did it, like people actually want this. And yeah, it was like such an incredible time. It was like game on from that point. And like, I think the first month of running this, we like topped like 6 figures in sales, and like it was like, okay, so we have a business here and it's working. And yeah, so that was like a super interesting kind of point in our whole journey, that like the moment that we got that first sale, it was like, okay, game on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What would you say has been the hardest part in your journey building the business? Was there like a defining moment or point where you're like, that was just very difficult for you guys in any capacity?
Yeah.
And I'll add to that, because like obviously you took the leap then and there to put all your money into it, drop out of your MBA program. That's kind of the moment where you're like, oh great, this is like, I'm going all in. Since then, yeah, I guess, is there any major obstacles or roadblocks you've had to overcome? I guess you guys were just started it just after the pandemic, which is a tough time to start any company, but yeah, any major obstacles you've had recently? Or
I think the biggest thing is like, it's always been capital, because like we have such high ambitions for growing the business, and our business is really relying on, like, we're an inventory based business, so we have to put in POs, we have to basically fund the operations. So in order for you to, you know, continue this aggressive growth, you always have to be reinvesting in inventory, and to scale at the speed that we were scaling, it was like very challenging balancing inventory, customers. And I know in the early days we had some, you know, upset customers, to be honest, and we did everything we can from the customer service standpoint of like managing expectations. And of course, you know, everybody could have, you know, done a little more or whatever, but I think that was one of the biggest challenges. We also kind of played around maybe with some suppliers that weren't the best idea, you know, tried to like save some money, and then we paid for it in just like a bad batch, and we just had to toss the whole thing out, which was like a big like step back, and just like overcoming and, you know, thinking through those decisions has definitely been challenging. But moving forward, and just the biggest challenge is really like keeping up with the aggressive growth that we're like super ambitious guys. So like we could simply, you know, grow like at a comfortable like 25% a year, but, you know, in a matter of 24 months, like we managed to hit like a, what is it, like a 10-figure, or sorry, 8-figure business. So it's very challenging to do that. And then I guess with that capital side of things, like, you know, bring on Michelle, bring on a couple of other investors, small investors, has really benefited the whole business. And
Michelle's from Dragon's Den?
Yeah, Michelle's from Dragon's Den.
Romanow, right? Michelle Romanow. Yeah.
Yes.
Clear call.
Yeah.
That's really cool. You got an advisor like that.
And she's actually from Queens. She's
really?
an alumni from Queens. Yeah.
She's a commerce alumni, no?
Yeah. She was like
double major, no?
valedictorian, like, yeah, top for
She
class.
did like a
So
double major or something.
I think so.
She did a double, yeah, something like that.
That's really cool.
yeah.
She's sharp. Comes from a sharp family.
But yeah, I don't know, Mike. Do you want to add something to the challenges? Maybe you can touch up something else.
Yeah, like I think there's I think you pretty much hit it. Like there's like so many moments. Like every day we're dealing with challenges. So
Like right now, we just got a call that one of our units got delivered. One of our pros.
Yeah, they
damaged.
got damaged
Yeah.
in delivery.
Yeah, like they opened the crate
Oh, like
Yeah.
they opened a crate in the Lynx.
in Montreal.
Oh fuck.
So how do we deal with that? Like, what
Yeah.
do we do now? We have customers already expecting the units. They already got a call that it's being delivered.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to deal with it. After this,
This
Jump on
podcast.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, jump on that.
Let's wrap this up.
Yes. So there's challenges like that every
Yeah.
day, you know. And you're trying to make the best out of your investments, and sometimes they don't go the right way. So
Yeah. One other thing I want to ask you, just building off the topic of challenges. What were your guys' like biggest fears before starting this? Because I know, like, you guys have had to go so many lengths to get to where you are today. You've had to pitch to investors, so much public speaking, all these like scary tasks. And like it's so funny because you guys are a cold plunge company. Like, people are scared of cold water. You overcome that. What fearful things have you that you now look back on where you're like, oh, I was scared of that and now I'm not. Like, I'm growing as a person here. Are there any like experiences like that you've had?
yeah, fuck, it's thousands. Literally every single day, there's like 25 moments a day where that's happening. So we're always pushing limits. Like, even where we're at now in the business, right? We're scaling. We went from just me, Dan, and 2 employees to now we're about to have 14 employees. It's like, okay, like now we're transitioning from working in the business to working on the business. We've never done that before. What does that look like? So luckily we have good advisors to be able to help us and guide us, and we can ask questions, and you know, they can give some pointers in areas like that. So I think there's fears all the time of how do we do this, how do we do that, but at the end of the day, like, you can't dwell on those things. You gotta keep going and remember what your goal is, and not get stuck on the how. Just keep focusing on the what and the why, and you will figure it out. So that's happening from the first day of the business to today, and it's gonna keep on happening. So you just gotta be dedicated to, again, figuring it out, and no matter what, always focusing on the solutions constantly. So, because if you don't, then you'll get stuck, and you won't get out of it, and you won't move through it, and you won't learn the lesson. So
yeah.
you gotta be willing to learn lessons, unless you're gonna plateau yourself.
And a lot of these lessons, a lot of the learnings that you're having, do you have like a network of mentors who you learn these things from? Do you read a lot? Like, what sorts of things do you guys do to help improve your learning, so that you, I guess, are better equipped to manage these hardships when they come?
I think it starts from mindset. Like you gotta get it done mindset. From, like, you know, there's no other option. We're all in on this. You know, I put in all my capital into this. Mike's put in all his time, and you know, so there's no option for failure. There's no option. So you have to get it done. You have to figure out a way to always come up with a solution. And so I think that's the starting point, and that's the mindset. And then from there, you reach out to your mentors. We have a board of directors that have been through this on different levels. Some are operators, some are, you know, successful, you know, VCs or angel investors already, and so we reach out to them, and we do a lot of kind of like just self-awareness within our business. You know, we do a lot of even like some general kind of breath work and meditation and all that kind of stuff. You know, every other week we have a meditation within the office. We have breath work within the office, just to get everybody leveled and really get clear with their intentions and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I know we're almost at time here. We are kind of already at time here, so I'll just ask you one last question. So we're 4th-year students. We just finished up, right? Now we got to figure out what we want to do with our lives. We love the entrepreneurship stuff. We love these stories of people starting business. It's the coolest thing in the world. What would you recommend to a student who's kind of in our position, or, you know, someone who's beyond university who wants to start a business, but they're not really sure where to start, like where the idea should come from? What advice would you give to someone like that?
I would just say try everything. Yeah, don't get stuck somewhere. Just keep trying. Go experiment. Go work for free. Go work for nothing. Just learn as much as you can. yeah, I would try everything. That's the best advice I'd probably give. If you don't know what you want to do, you don't know where you want to go, pick 5 things that you think you want to go and go and do it and see how you like it and see what you learn from it, because you can learn from anything. Like, I was doing jobs that I hated, but I made money from it, but I didn't like it. But I got very, very valuable lessons from that I'm carrying over into this business. I went and worked for free for this guy for 6 months to learn something that now is valuable in this business. So you'll never know what you'll learn, and you'll never know how that learning lesson will take you into, maybe it'll apply to your business in 10 years from now, maybe it'll apply in a year from now. You never know. So just go experiment, go try, be willing to go through the shit so that you can eventually get to where you want to go, because that's the reality. You're going to have to. So that's what I would say.
Daniel?
Yeah, I think just echoing Mike's position, you definitely have to try everything you can. Like, be open to failing, like in your 20s, like as much as possible. But kind of like a strategic approach to that would be to pick an industry or area that you're really interested in. Like, whether it's wellness, find like a wellness startup and like be in the weeds, like learn from everybody. Like, you know, we have like some of our guys here like are also super entrepreneurial, and they're like interested in like from day one they're touching the whole process from start to finish. And if that's what you want to do, then you literally have to pick an industry that you want and go in there, start just grinding, learning as much as you can, soak everything up, and then as soon as you feel like you're comfortable and ready, get out of there and start doing your own thing. Yeah. But you have to go all in, though. That's the number one thing. You can't kind of do a little bit on the side and do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. 100% focus. Provide 100% focus in your role. Soak as much as you can. Make notes on the side, and then get out and go all in.
Yeah. I don't think you need to know what industry. I don't think you actually need to know what industry. I didn't know what industry. How I knew was I just went. You're not gonna know. I know guys who pick an industry and then after 10 years they're like, "Fuck, I hate the industry that I'm in. I want to get out." So if you don't know what industry you want to be in, so you gotta find what fuels your fire, and then you might think that fuels your fire, and then you're gonna do it, and then after 2 years you'll be like, no, that actually doesn't turn me on anymore, right? So it's a relationship. That's all it is. It's your relationship to the experience and the circumstance. So I would just try everything. Honestly, I wouldn't be too picky.
That's great advice, guys. And yeah, there's a million more questions we could probably ask you, and you guys would provide great advice on. But you guys got things to do, and we appreciate you guys making the time for us. It means a lot, and we hope people at home can learn a thing or two from this. So really, sincerely, thank you guys for taking the time.